The China Report for Sunday, April 7, 2013. China warns against troublemaking on Korean Peninsula. China warned against troublemaking on its doorstep, in an apparent rebuke to North Korea, and the United States said it was postponing a missile test to help calm high tension on the divided Korean Peninsula. The North, led by 30-year-old Kim Jong-un, has been issuing vitriolic threats of war against the United States and U.S.-backed South Korea since the United Nations imposed sanctions in response to its third nuclear weapon test in February. Pyongyang's anger appears heightened by U.S.-South Korean joint military exercises. But most analysts say it has no intention of starting a conflict that would bring its own destruction and instead is out to wring concessions from a nervous international community. China debt manageable. The Chinese government is not going bankrupt anytime soon, the country's former finance minister Jiang Guicheng said during the 2013 BOA Forum for Asia, going on this weekend in Hainan. The majority of the debts are internal ones, and the government has always adhered to the principle of sustainability while handling the debt issue. Credit flows beyond traditional bank loans have quadrupled in size since 2008 to about 20 trillion yuan, roughly 40% of China's GDP. China to allow tourism in disputed islands in South China Sea. In a move that could exacerbate tensions with its neighbors, China has announced plans to allow tourist cruises to disputed islands in the South China Sea, also claimed by Vietnam. China is scheduled to let tourists visit the Shisha Islands, called by Vietnam as Paracel Islands in the South China Sea ahead of the forthcoming May Day holiday. People will be allowed to visit the islands on cruise tours, Tan Li, executive vice governor of the southernmost province of Hainan said at the BOA Forum for Asia, state-run Xinhua news agency reported. The announcement came as China's new President Xi Jinping in a speech called for peace and stability in the Asian region. But opening tourist travel to a disputed island area does not exactly promote peace, does it? Direct trade for Australian dollar and Chinese yuan official. Australian and Chinese currency will be traded in China for the first time. And a major tourism and investment campaign will be run in Shanghai in late 2014 to take advantage of China's booming middle class and fast-growing economy. Under the currency agreement, the Australian dollar will be directly convertible into Chinese yuan, easing costs for mining companies and other global industries. China only has deals of a similar kind with the United States and Japan. This reflects the rapid growth of our bilateral trade and the value of two-way investment. This also means another step for the yuan to possibly become the world's reserve currency someday. But first, the US dollar must fail and the yuan would have to be unpegged from the dollar. Calls for ending capital punishment in China. In 2007, to prevent unjustified and wrongful executions and to control the total number of death penalty cases in the country, the power of review was returned to the Supreme People's Court. 4 years later, the country revised its criminal law to remove 13 crimes from the list of those punishable by death. Non-violent offenses such as financial and tax fraud, smuggling relics, precious metals and rare animals, and looting cultural ruins were stricken from the list. However, China still holds the world record for the most capital offenses, 55. Also, China considers the number of executions a state secret and has never publicized it. That's the China Report for today. Zaijian.